Levon Cade, an ex-Royal Marine Commando, now works as a construction foreman for Garcia and Family Construction, owned by Joe, Carla, and their daughter Jenny. Levon shares a close, familial friendship with them. On the job site, he observes mafia loan collectors roughing up a worker. Levon fearlessly intervenes, a bucket of nails in hand, demanding they allow the worker to return to his duties. They dismiss him. Levon instantly utilizes his specialized combat training, severely beating the men before forcing them to retreat. Jenny, impressed by his prowess, approaches and asks him to train her. He finds it amusing, but she insists, telling him if she ever needs help, he just needs to have her back. Later, Levon drives to pick up his daughter, Mary, for his visitation day. She lives with her wealthy grandfather, Dr. Roth, Levon's father-in-law. Roth deeply resents Levon, blaming him for the death of Mary's mother. Roth accuses Levon of being an unsafe parent and a killer, attempting to provoke him into violence for the custody case. Levon avoids the confrontation and leaves with Mary. At a restaurant, he gives Mary a photo of herself and her late mother. Levon then meets with his custody lawyer, Matt. The opposing counsel is alleging Levon has untreated PTSD and brain trauma from his military service, making him a violent risk. They seek supervised visits and a reduction in visitation time. Levon, frustrated that his 22 years of service are being used against him, insists on fighting, offering his $10,000 in savings. Matt, pointing out Levon sleeps in his truck, expresses concern about Roth's expensive legal team. Levon refuses to surrender, producing more cash, ready to fight tooth and nail. Levon explains Roth blames him for his wife's passing, though it was self-deletion while Levon was deployed. That night, Jenny and her friends celebrate the end of the semester at a club. Levon, meanwhile, manages to secure a room. Unbeknownst to the girls, two Russian traffickers, Viper and Artemis, are watching them. Artemis discreetly photographs them. The girls move to a bar. Jenny speaks to the bartender, Johnny, an accomplice, who immediately texts the traffickers. When one friend goes to the restroom, Jenny follows. Johnny texts again. Jenny is then ambushed and kidnapped by Viper and Artemis, who speed away in a van. On Monday, Levon arrives at work to find police leaving. Joe and Carla tearfully inform him Jenny is missing, begging for his help, as they know the police won't act quickly. Joe reminds Levon of his military background, but Levon tries to resist, saying, "I'm a different person now." They offer $70,000, but Levon still insists, "It's no longer who I am," and refuses. Levon later visits his old friend, Gunny, a blind ex-Marine raider. Levon tells him about Jenny. Gunny insists that if Levon wants to save her, he needs to go full-on. Levon admits he promised Jenny he had her back. Gunny, knowing Levon has already made up his mind, simply smiles. The next day, Levon visits the Garcia house, finding Joe watching a video of Jenny playing piano. Levon tells Joe the family needs hope. Levon recalls how Joe and his family were patient with him when his wife passed and he left the Marines, stating that they treated him like family when others would have given up. He promises Joe, through his tears, that he will bring Jenny home. Levon begins his investigation, reviewing reports. He identifies the bar where Jenny was last seen and stakes it out. He watches Johnny sneakily sell drugs, confirming his criminal activity. Levon takes pictures of the back entrance. Later, after Johnny locks up, he drives home unaware of the tracker Levon attached. Levon follows. When Johnny arrives home and prepares drugs, Levon retrieves the tracker, picks the lock, and enters. Johnny grabs for his gun, but Levon levels his shotgun, stopping him. Levon shows him Jenny's picture. Johnny denies knowing anything. Levon, cold and professional, says, "People lie." "Do you lie, Johnny?" "I don't trust people. I trust biology." Worldwide, the same. Johnny continues his work, defiant, so Levon ties him to a chair in the bathtub, simulates drowning with a towel, forcing a confession. Johnny cracks, desperately telling Levon the guys are next level, but Levon demands names. Suddenly, Levon hears two men calling out for Johnny. Levon grabs his gun, but Johnny screams, alerting his friends. Using Johnny as a shield, Levon forces him to open the door, only for the two men to open fire, tragically hitting Johnny. Levon instantly shoots and kills the two attackers. He checks one body, recognizing them as Russians from a tattoo, collects bundles of cash, and leaves. The next day, Levon watches Johnny's house as Wool Kolesnik, a high-ranking captain working for Simonenko, a Bratva enforcer, arrives with Simon's sons, Da and Vanko. Wool notices the missing $90,000 and the shotgun wound. A cleaning crew arrives to remove the bodies, while Levon watches. Mary video calls him from school. Levon refocuses, following Wool and the sons to Wool's house. Levon sets up a camera and audio, watching Wool inside slap his wife. Levon gains entry, surprises Wool, pours hot coffee on his face, and knocks him out. Levon then has Wool tied to a chair by the pool, tilted halfway into the water, restrained by a chain.
Will brags about his high rank and threatens Levon. Levon slaps him, saying, "That's for slapping that woman this morning."
Wool protests that she's his wife, earning another slap.
Levon tosses the recovered cash into the pool, showing Wool Jenny's picture and asking about the kidnapping. Wool blurts out a name, Demi, speaking angrily in Russian. Levon demands Jenny's location. Levon cuts the chain, and Wool falls into the pool, drowning. Levon uses his phone to translate Wool's Russian, confirming Demi is his target. Later, Simon arrives at the house, reviews the CCTV footage, and questions Levon's motives. He instructs D and Vanko, "Find this man and bring him to me." Levon calls his DEA contact, asking about Demi, pretending he's Wool's associate. The agent warns Levon about Wool's high mafia rank. Levon suggests Demi might be involved in human trafficking, asking for any hits.
The agent provides a lead about a bar where Russians sell drugs.
Levon goes there that evening.
Artemis watches him on camera and tells Doug G she suspects he is a cop due to his concealed weapon.
Doug G approaches. Levon subtly shows him his cash, and Doug G leads him to Dutch. Dutch asks about the gun.
Levon denies being a cop, but Dutch demands he empty his pockets.
Levon refuses. Dutch signals his biker gang to attack. Levon easily dismantles the entire gang.
Dutch, impressed, shakes his hand.
Levon lies, saying he wants to buy bluegrass drugs because his Chicago connection went MIA.
Dutch believes him, and they agree on a price.
Dutch tells him to meet at a cafe the next morning. Levon arrives the next morning, meets Doug G and Artemis, and pays.
Artemis throws him a burner phone, and Doug G says he'll get a call with the drop location.
Levon warns them not to play games.
Driving away, he gets the call. Dutch says the drug is under his seat.
Levon finds it and is told to keep the phone. At a bridge, Levon tosses the drugs into the river. That night, Artemis and Viper deliver Jenny to a client. The client pays, but Jenny bites his cheek.
Furious, he orders them to take her out.
In his room, Levon is organizing his evidence when the burner phone rings.
It's Dutch, wanting to introduce him to a higher-up due to the feds.
Dutch says, "I'ma shoot you an invite for a sit-down. Bring your money and wear suit."
The next day, Levon arrives, is searched, and meets Dutch and Demi. He pays Dutch. Demi introduces himself as Demi, and Levon introduces himself as Bill.
Demi checks Levon's driver's license.
Demi gives him the briefcase of drugs and tells him to text the eggplant emoji for resupply.
Levon flushes the drugs later.
Looking at the club photos, he notices Viper accessing Johnny's phone and sees the messages.
Levon drives to the bar area and hides his car.
Artemis spots him with her spy camera and reports it. Levon realizes he's caught and gets out quickly as two cars pull up.
Det and Vanko jump out, guns drawn. Levon steals a bike and speeds off. They open fire. Levon crashes into a police car and is knocked unconscious, realizing the corrupt officers are on the Russian payroll. Det and Vanko take him away in their van. Levon wakes up in the moving van.
D and Vanko question him, identifying themselves as Wool's nephews.
Levon attacks, causing a violent fight.
The driver is shot, and the van crashes.
Levon grabs a gun and kills both D and Vanko.
He shoves the van into the river. Later, Simon identifies his son's bodies and orders his men to convene the war council. Viper and Artemis meet a furious Demi, who agrees to have Jenny murdered.
Simon brings the matter to the War Council, assigning Karp and Naster to find Demi. Demi is found partying. Simon reveals, "Your father is dead."
Tied to its chair, drowned in his pool.
Demi is devastated. Naster shows him Levon's picture, and Demi recognizes him, revealing Levon deals drugs. Simon informs him Levon is hunting him. Levon's personal information is hacked. Karp and Naster interrupt Roth's yoga. Levon gets a call. No one picked up Mary from school. He rushes there. Mary checks Roth's shared location and finds he is at home.
Levon drives there and finds part of the house in flames. He tells Mary to wait and rushes inside, finding a beaten and tied up Roth.
Levon carries him out. Roth, still hateful, blames Levon.
Mary intervenes, pointing out Levon saved his life.
Levon tells him to go to the hospital. Roth, for once, expresses his thanks. Levon takes Mary to Gunny's house. Levon tells Gunny he will find Jenny. Gunny takes Levon to his gun room, giving him high-quality weapons.
Mary, tearful, worries he will get in trouble. Levon promises to return, giving her a patch with the US and UK flags, telling her to hold on to this. He hugs her and drives off. Viper and Artemis drive Jenny out, but she causes an accident and escapes. She unties her hands and runs, flagging down a police car, but it is the two corrupt officers who take her back. The client video calls, offering $1 million for a second chance tonight, wanting her dirty. Jenny sits in the dirty pond. Levon arrives at Demi's location, eliminating guards. He throws a grenade. He finds Demi, who takes a woman hostage. Levon shoots Demi's hand. He tells the woman to take Demi's money and run. Levon shows Demi Jenny's picture. Levon replies to Demi's question,
'cause I told her I had her back. Demi gives him Jenny's location. Levon takes him along. Demi identifies Viper.
Demi makes the mistake of calling Jenny a whore, earning a severe punch.
They arrive. Levon forces Demi out, and Demi explains the systematic trafficking for money. Levon kicks Demi into a pond and executes him with a silencer. Levon arms himself from the truck and heads for the battle.
Inside, Jenny hopelessly plays her signature piece on the piano while Levon silently eliminates guards.
Dutch receives word of Levon's attack and gathers his biker gang. Artemis and Viper drag Jenny away, chaining her hands.
The client approaches Jenny with a knife, but Levon throws a grenade, causing an explosion.
A gunfight erupts. Levon takes down guards. Dutch and his gang arrive, joining the intense firefight. Levon finishes the last of the gang. Dutch attacks. Levon drives a knife into Dutch's throat. Levon closes Dutch's eyes. Levon locates Jenny by her scream. The client confronts him and is shot in the chest. Viper panics and empties his gun at Levon. Levon punches Viper to the ground.
Artemis lunges for Jenny, but Jenny kicks her twice, slamming her head.
Levon snaps Viper's neck with his elbow. Jenny snaps Artemis' neck with her knees. Karp and Naastor arrive. Levon frees Jenny.
Karp opens fire on the corrupt officer's car, causing it to explode.
Naastor opens fire on Levon.
Levon uses his camera scope to deliver a clean shot to Karp, killing him.
Levon throws a grenade, taking out Naastor.
Levon places his rifle on the pool table as a mark of respect and leaves with Jenny on a bike. Simon, watching from a distance, calls his boss, who says, "The devil has what he came for, let him go."
Simon screams in pain and frustration. The next morning, Levon returns Jenny home.
Carla and Joe tearfully hug their daughter, then Levon.
Levon drives to Gunny's. Mary rushes to him. He hugs her. Gunny places his hand on Levon's shoulder and says, "Welcome back, brother. You're home," making Levon smile.